Are you the sort of person that prefers to hear the good news first or the bad news first? I usually prefer to hear the good news. So the good news is this video is my very first collab, and I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am about that. The bad news, on the other hand, is the fact that we're going to be discussing products that I regret buying. So if you would like to hear what those products are and why I regret ever purchasing them, then keep on watching. Hi guys. Oh, this video is such an exciting video. Despite the fact that we're going to be talking about a bunch of trash products. Well, I shouldn't say that. Actually, a lot of these products are not necessarily trash. They're just products I personally wish for one reason or another I didn't purchase. But before we even get into any of that, this is going to be my very first collab. And I am collabing with just the most incredible person. I could not have asked for a better first collab. I'm collabing with Tan from Tan's Beauty. She's a fellow New Yorker. She has also a new channel like me, and we have bonded over obviously our love for makeup and skincare and just beauty in general, but also I think over the fact that we really turned to YouTube as kind of a solace and a creative outlet during what were of course our worst months here in New York when the pandemic hit. And Tan and I have a lot of mutual people that we watch, so I think we just saw each other's comments, chatted, and then gradually started watching each other's videos and became fast friends. We now chat daily on Instagram and we're learning about so many things we have in common. Tan is the most incredibly supportive and uplifting person that I have met online so far. I mean, she encourages me pretty much daily when we communicate. She has been such a huge help in motivating me to continue on this no-buy, and I'm just so grateful that I met her here online. So I couldn't have thought honestly of a better person to do this collab with, and I really urge you to go check out her channel and subscribe. She posts so many amazing and creative videos. She has already quite a few looks on her channel as well as on her Instagram. She does a lot of Instagram videos. She does great reviews. She does get ready with me's. She recently started her own version of a Shop My Stash, which I think is really interesting, and she's really tailoring it to her needs and her collection. She's just overall fantastic, and I cannot wait to see her future content. I have a feeling she's going to continue creating some really cool, very creative, and very different videos. So please do go ahead and subscribe to her. I will link all of her information, of course, down in my description bar. Please tell her I said hi, and if you're coming over from Tan's channel, or if you're just stumbling upon my channel for the first time, welcome. My name is Natalia, and I am doing a no-buy year for the entire year of 2020. So if you're also doing some form of a no-buy or a low-buy, or just need some inspiration to help you buy a little less of the new and use a little more of the old, then you've come to the right place. I really hope that I can somehow encourage you to do just that, and I hope that you will consider subscribing and that you will join our frugal family. And without further ado, let's get into some of the products that I regret buying.
What is that noise? Wind? It's really windy out there, wow.
So Tan had some great ideas for what we should collaborate on, and I hope that we will do some more collabs in the future and do some of her other wonderful ideas. But the one that I thought would be the most befitting for my channel and for this year, this no-buy year of mine, is a regrets video. Regrets of products that I have purchased, that we have purchased, that we probably shouldn't have for one reason or another. We agreed on 10 products or less, and I first only had 5, then I got up to 7, and then I very quickly found a whole bunch more, and if anything, I had to actually edit myself. We have a little bit of everything here, but it is, I guess, eyeshadow heavy because that is a weakness of mine, but we're gonna start with a few complexion products first. The first thing I'm gonna talk about is a foundation. This is from number 7. This is the Lift and Illuminate foundation. I believe they still have this foundation, but It's now called like a triple serum or something. So they basically reformulated this, discontinued this specific foundation, I think in this specific packaging, and then re-released it as something different. I remember hearing from a few people about this foundation. I can't remember exactly who. I want to say Samantha March may have been one of those people. I don't remember for a fact, so I don't really want to say that. But I definitely remember hearing about this foundation from a few creators that I watched regularly. And I got very excited because I saw this on sale, probably when they were discontinuing this and they already knew they were going to release a different version of it. And because it was on sale, not all the shades were available. So I just grabbed the lightest shade that was still in stock. This was in a store and I went with it, and it's in Cool Vanilla. And it's just a wrong shade for me. So there's really nothing necessarily hugely wrong with this foundation, but I haven't really even gotten a chance to test it out properly because it's a completely wrong shade for me. And I can even show you guys. Ironically enough, I actually am wearing it today, but I mixed it with something else in this video. You can see, I hope, that this is, first of all, it's way too cool. It has like almost a grayish tint and it's way too dark for me. And this is me at my most tan, which, let's face it, is pathetic. So there's that. I knew buying this that this is too dark, and I thought, I'll mix it in with something, I'll somehow make it work. I'm still really curious about it. I shouldn't have done that, and that's a lesson learned. Find the right shade somewhere else, or if it gets discontinued, just find a different foundation, test out something else, because let's face it, it's not the only foundation out there in this world. There's hundreds of foundations, and I am sure that I could have found something that I would have actually used regularly because it would have been my shade, instead of it sitting in my collection now for several years. Like, this thing I think expired by now and I've still barely made a dent in it. I've tried using it just a few times. The other complexion product I'm really disappointed about. This is definitely a regret, and it didn't start out as a regret. It started out as a huge favorite, and I was so excited about having this, and that is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. I apologize for the noise. It's really windy out there, and my neighbors have like this tarp thing outside their apartment for the upcoming Jewish holidays, and it keeps rattling. And if I wait for it to stop, I will have to wait until mid-October to film this video because there's going to be a lot of holidays coming up. So yeah, this is the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer by ColourPop. I bought this fairly recently, at least for me, considering I'm on a no-buy all year. This is fairly recently. This was one of the last purchases I made in 2019 over the Black Friday weekend sales. And I used this in January, February, and March. In fact, it was in one of my Shop My Stashes for those months, and I loved it. And I thought this was going to become a product that I use regularly and that I actually go through, which is very rare for me. And then I put it aside for a few months, and I went to use it again a month or two ago, and it had completely separated. I tried shaking it up, I tried pumping it out many times, and it is just unusable. And I haven't heard anybody else, I don't think, mention this. So I don't know if I got a dud. I don't know if I stored it wrong. I don't know if this stuff needs to have some sort of temperature controlled room or something to live in, but I was so bummed and so disappointed. This is a regret, but not because I was dumb and bought a wrong product, but because the product failed me. So there's that. Next, we have the ever beloved by so many Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This I don't like for several reasons. First of all, it is way too heavy for my under eyes. And yes, I know you use only a very little amount. And yes, I have tried every kind of amount out there, from pin dot to full swipe, and nothing works. It just makes me look older. It makes me look creepier. It's just so heavy. I just don't like it for my under eyes at all. Also, it is a wrong shade, surprisingly, in the other direction. It's rare that I have things that are way too light for me, but this is one of those things that is way too light for me, as you can see. So what I did today as my foundation is I actually mixed this concealer with the number 7 foundation. And I can't say it's a perfect match by any means, but at least I can make it work. So I'm gonna try this again a few times to see if I can at least use some of these products. I also know Tan actually mentioned this to me when I complained about this in my recent Ulta 21 Days of Beauty video, where I anti-hauled and convinced myself out of everything in that sale. So if you guys are curious to hear my thoughts on every product that was in that sale, I will link that. The Shape Tape was, or is, I don't remember what day of the sale this was supposed to be on, but it was 50% off. And I think honestly I purchased it in some other sale, probably at 50% off. You know, when I mentioned that, she wrote to me and said, well, you know, you can use that as an eyeshadow primer. And yeah, I can and I will maybe one day. The problem is I have eyeshadow primers. Like I have a ton of eyeshadow primers and I'd like to use them because they're meant to be eyeshadow primers. Maybe this is better. Maybe I should really try it, but then I'm gonna feel guilty because I'm neglecting my eyeshadow primers. So I don't know. I'll keep working with this, but this is not a concealer that I enjoy at all. And of course, this was a YouTube made me buy it, 100%, because everyone without fail pretty much was hyping this concealer up and raving about this concealer. And maybe at the time it came out, it was one of the best. I don't know, maybe that's what it is. I don't know why I don't like this, but I don't. Another shade regret that I have is actually the Persona highlighter. This is in Zuma. I have nothing against this highlighter. I did use this once, but it is just too dark for me. I should have known better. I should have known that the people that were speaking about this nonstop and recommending specifically this shade were not as fair as myself. This was just a silly purchase on my part, honestly. So this is a regret that's aimed solely at me. I know there is actually a lighter color that maybe one day I will try, but honestly right now I just don't need any more highlighters. It's just a bummer that a product that could have worked really well, because I've heard so many great things about the formula, is not going to work for me because, you know, I can't use it. It's too dark for me. Yeah, there's that. And I actually hope to pass it on to Tan after this video because she is of a deeper complexion and I'm really hoping that it will work on her and that she will enjoy it. So at least this product might have a happy ending, but this was definitely a shade regret. Now we're gonna switch over to some eyeshadow products. This is an old product that was also hyped here on YouTube like crazy, but we're talking a few years back. In fact, I don't even know if they still make these. These are the NARS Dual Intensity eyeshadows. If you've been on YouTube this long, comment down below and let me know if you remember these guys. Oh boy, the buzz around these $29 eyeshadows. That's right, you heard me. $29 for one eyeshadow. And I remember I was lusting after these. These were like the equivalent of NATASHA DENONA Chromium Multi-Chrome liquid eyeshadows that she just came out with. And I'm including one in a giveaway that I'm doing right now. The hype and the level of I want was real with this eyeshadow back in the day. And I remember just thinking long and hard about which shade I want because I knew I would only be able to get the one because they were $29. And I went with the shade Callisto. And I'll be honest with you, I adore the shade. I mean, this thing is gorgeous. I know Tan is somebody who loves warm eyeshadows. I am an equal opportunist. I actually think cool eyeshadows, if anything, look better on me. I just really love warm tones on other people.
So I keep trying to make them look really good on me too. So I keep trying to make them look good. So I keep trying to get the sentence out.
So I keep trying to make them look good on me, but I honestly think a shade like this would look great with my skin tone, with the fact that I love to wear a bold red lip, kind of like what I have on my face today. But because it's a single eyeshadow, and I've learned over the years, I almost never reach for my singles. So this just goes practically unused. I've swatched this tons of times because I just think it's so beautiful. But I'll be pressed to remember if and when I ever use this on my eyes. So yeah. However, now that I'm looking at it, what I really should do is I should try to create a look with this because I bet this could be a dupe for one of the colors in the latest NATASHA DENONA Glam palette. And I would like to make a video actually about that palette, because just like with the NATASHA DENONA Bronze palette that I hauled on my channel, I definitely need to talk myself out of that Glam palette. I mean, I won't buy it, I can't buy it, but it is pulling at my heartstrings a little bit, just because NATASHA DENONA always does that. She just has this talent for marketing, for posting gorgeous looks on her Instagram, for packaging things in a way that just speak to us. She just has that sleek, simple, classy, high-end, luxurious feel to pretty much everything she touches. So this maybe is something I really need to bust out while the hype is real for the cool tones. But it's a regret because I've had this for probably at least 3 or 4 years and I've barely, if ever, used it. I've swatched it, which has been really satisfying and wonderful, but is that worth $29? You tell me. More single eyeshadows. These guys. Who remembers these guys? I just remembered about them because I was at TJ Maxx the other day, and the Moon Dust eyeshadow palette that was also quite the rage a few years back was there. It was there for like 17 or 20 bucks, and I thought to myself, the Natalia pre-2020 no-buy would have snatched that palette up at TJ Maxx because it was such an amazing deal instead of like $50 or whatever. But then I also remembered that, girl, you've got 5 of these. I have 5. I don't just have 1. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? I'm counting these as one item because they are the Urban Decay Moon Dust shadows. So these count as one because I bought them all at the same time. They were on sale. Of course they were. This is Natalia we're talking about. I can't pass up a good sale. I have drawers full of items I don't use that I bought because they were on a good sale. And these were 50% off and I bought 5 shades. I remember I wanted all of them. I think they had like 10 or 15. And I remember I had to sit there and really figure out which ones I want, really think about it and edit myself. Same thing. I've swatched these. I've used maybe 2 of them, maybe 2 times. Maybe 3 times. I don't even know. I'm seriously considering decluttering them at some point if I ever do a declutter. I should give them a chance. I should try to use them. I should figure out how to motivate myself to use more of my singles and create some sort of a pan project or a shop my stash based around that. But I have so many palettes and I always gravitate towards palettes. And I've learned that, and I need to really hold myself back if in the future I'm tempted to buy a lot of singles, because it hasn't worked. They're beautiful, but I just don't use them. And here's the other thing. I think one of the reasons I end up falling for things like this is I see creators that I really enjoy. I love their looks, I love their personalities, I love how they speak about products, how they present them, and they get use out of these things. But I'm not them. It's almost like this wishful thinking that I am going to become that person, that I am going to use my makeup in the way other people use my makeup. No, I have to figure out, how do I use my makeup? What is convenient for me, for my personal style, for my schedule, for how often I wear makeup, which honestly is not that often. And I need to just come to terms with that and be okay with that, instead of saying, oh, I wish I wore makeup every day. I wish I would get up an hour earlier every day to do my makeup. Guess what? I know that's not going to happen. So this is a learning experience of 2020. That was the single eyeshadows. Now let's get into the palettes. I'm going to start with the one that a part of me still is very happy I have it, but a part of me definitely regrets. And that's the Kat Von D Metal Matte. Aside from the fact that Kat Von D had, controversy, and then eventually it hurt her brand so much that she basically had to leave her own company, or she was pushed out of her own company, or who knows what happened. So there's that. But when this came out, Kat Von D was riding the high horse and she was on top of her game, and her brand was one of the top talked about brands here on YouTube. All of her limited edition palettes like these would sell out real quick. And I remember I jumped on this full price, which for me is not something I do very often, because I just really fell in love with the aesthetic of it. I love the whole idea of the fact that if you turned it one way, it said metal, and then if you turned it another way, it said matte. I've always really liked her artwork. I also really liked this idea of all the matte shadows on one side and all the metallic shadows on the other, and I just thought it was brilliantly done, right? Metal, matte, matte, metal, like and the colors at the time I thought were really interesting and something I didn't really have in my collection back then because I had many fewer palettes. But I don't know if you can tell, I've never used it pretty much. I don't think I included it in a video I did a few months ago where I talked about all the palettes in my collection that never got used, because I have swatched this and maybe I've used it once or twice. But in the grand scheme of things, I haven't used it. Some of these mattes have never been touched at all, not even swatched. And aside from the fact that that is extremely unfortunate and extremely embarrassing, I just wish I knew myself better at the time. I wished I knew that this was all a bit too dark for me, and this whole palette was just too large. I can't really travel with it. It's just too big for that. And except for right now, when I have now a YouTube channel and I make sure to get ready for my videos by sitting at my desk and putting on my makeup, prior to that and prior to the quarantines and us staying primarily at home, I was always somebody who did my makeup on the go. And I can't do my makeup on the go with something like this. I can maybe kill somebody with something like this, but I can't do my makeup on the go with it. And I'm just so disappointed in myself. Like, it still looks beautiful to this day, and I think there is so much potential for amazing looks with this. And then of course I know that now nobody uses her palettes on the internet because it was taboo, and you know, people are not supporting her, although now, you know, they're trying again to support the brand now that she's no longer a part of it. I just don't know what to do with this, because there's a part of me that really still wants to use it and figure out its potential.
Oh, it's eating my hair.
But then there's a part of me that every time I look at it, I almost feel like this guilt and disappointment and shame. I haven't decided. Again, this is also sort of like, you know, future thoughts for, will I declutter any of these products? Possibly, we'll see. Or maybe I'll actually give them finally a proper chance and fall in love with them. You never know, right? Things change. Okay, we have two other palettes here. One of them is this Lorac palette, the Santa Monica palette. And this I bought at TJ Maxx. And honestly, the regret is I really thought when I bought it, like I thought through the purchase, I really thought this is something I would use more, because I thought it was an on-the-go friendly palette for me for the everyday looks. It's boring, nothing here revolutionary, right? You've got my skin tone shade, which I usually like to have. You've got one transition, and then you've got two lid colors, a slightly warmer shade and a slightly cooler shade. It's a very neutral, leaning cool palette. And then you have two, what for me would be blushes, because I think that would be too deep for me to use as a highlight. And I thought, perfect, this is going to be great for when I travel, for, you know, if I'm just on the go. But honestly, I haven't been reaching for it. And I'm sure this was not very expensive because I bought it at TJ Maxx, but it's still money, and it's still space, and it's still waste. It's another one of those, why did I do that? I had those shades. I guess at the time I somehow thought that combining them in this specific combination would inspire me to use it, and it's done none of that. And then the last eyeshadow palette I have is this one. This is the NARS Provocateur eyeshadow palette. I also found this at TJ Maxx. I did not pay full price for this. I would not have been able, I think, to pay full price for such a small eyeshadow palette. I believe it was $49 originally. And I'll be honest, what got me was the packaging. This packaging is just amazing. I mean, the way they inlaid the NARS into this overlay, it's kind of similar to the latest Urban Decay palette that came out. What is it called? Like the Stone palette or something. I want that thing for the packaging. And I don't promise that in 2021, when I'm off my no-buy, if that thing goes on sale, or I find it at TJ Maxx for $20 instead of the $50 or whatever it is right now, I don't make any promises. I might buy that for the same reasons I bought this. But maybe doing this video and talking about how I shouldn't have done that, maybe that will prevent me from ever buying the new Urban Decay palette, because I shouldn't be buying things just for the packaging. None of us should be buying things just for the packaging, because the shades inside are not my shades. I still would like to use this and try to make this work. I think I've tried it twice. It's too deep and grungy for me. This is like a really weird flaky topper shade. This is already forming hard pan. This is a beautiful duochrome, but it's semi-similar to like that green, brown, red that pretty much everybody has done. Although this is more brown red than it is green, so I guess it's slightly different from most pigments and eyeshadows that are in this family. And then we've got this sparkly like grayish black. I never use shades like that. This really, really dark burgundy purple that honestly just comes out looking practically black on somebody as fair as me. And then this really cool red, but what do I do with this? If you have any suggestions, I knew going into this that the color story doesn't speak to me, and yet I still bought it because I was mesmerized by this packaging. Who does that? And I'm sure tons of people do that, but why do we do that? Why do companies get us? Why do they know how to pry us out of our own hard-earned money just by putting some cool crystal-looking triangles that are plastic on top of some more plastic and arranging it in such a way that we just go, oh, must have it? I don't get it. Last but not least, I have a lip product. I have two, but I'm putting them together as one category. These are the Marc Jacobs, the Lamarck Liquid Lip Creams. And I have them in Truth or Bare and Fawn Over Me. Don't get me wrong, the colors I love, but I bought these because they were again at TJ Maxx. Noticing a trend here? Sales. Sales get me. I've never worn them. Again, I've swatched them, so you know, I can't consider them brand new. I can't give them away. They're beautiful colors. I'll show you. They might even be good formula for all I know. Problem is I don't know because I've never worn them. And I have these colors. I have these colors.
Oh, why did I swatch them on this hand? Who knows?
I have these colors probably 10 times over. We have a mauve color, which my favorite, which is why I bought this color, because I thought, oh, colors I really like, I will use it. And like a neutrally peachy nude. Why did I need to spend more money on lip products when I have tons and tons of lipsticks? This is definitely a regret. I need to try it. Maybe some of these will one day turn into favorites if I ever get around to using them. But just the sheer amount of stuff that I have bought just because it's on sale is really ridiculous. It's pathetic, it's embarrassing, and it needs to stop. So there's that, guys. Those are my 10 products that I regret purchasing. Now, in the spirit of my no buy year, I decided to actually tally up what all of these products would have cost me full price. And then I think I'm going to just cut that price in half to let you know the total amount that I would have saved had I not purchased any of these regret products.
So, let's see. We've got 14 and 16, 30 and 27, 57, 57 and 29, 57 and 30 is 87, minus 1 is 86, 86 and 24, 86 and 4 is 90, plus 20, 110. Moonlight Shadows, 22 times 5 is another 110, so we're now at 220. Marc Jacobs Lamarck Liquid Lip Creams were $28 each originally. Yikes! So we are at 276. The Provocateur eyeshadow palette by NARS was originally 49 whopping smackaroos, so 276 plus 50, oh gosh, math, hello Natalia, math, 325 and 24 is 349, and the Kat Von D metal matte was 60, 409. Wowzers.
The total for all of these products that I showed you guys today, and granted I counted all the moon dust shadows, so I counted all 5 of them at $22 each. If I bought them full price, there's $110. There's your phone bill right there. Wow. So the total would have been $409. We're gonna slice that in half because I know that a lot of these things I bought for considerably less than the full price. Example, this NARS palette I think was 15 or 20 versus the 49 original price. Whereas some other things I know I paid full price, like the metal matte palette and the NARS eyeshadow. So I'm hoping if we do like 50%, it'll sort of be about the ballpark of what I paid for all these products. So I paid over $200 still for all these products. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you can take something away from this, that you can check yourself twice before making a new purchase and really think about how you would use it, and does it fit your lifestyle? Does it fit your preferences? And I really, really hope that you will go and check out Tan's channel and Tan's video. I cannot wait to see the products that she selected. She is not doing a no buy, so she definitely does have some newer products. So I am super excited to see what she discusses and what she probably will help talk us out of. Once again, I really want to thank Tan for doing this video with me. I really, really am so grateful for your friendship. Definitely go and check out Tan's video and subscribe to her channel. I know you will not regret it. And also check out her Instagram, because she really does do a lot of cool looks on there and she posts quite a lot. With that said, that is it. Those were my regrets. I would love to hear what you think of either some of these same products that I showed you guys, or what are some of your regrets. Help all of us not buy things we shouldn't be buying. Give us some of your reviews, give us some of the reasons for why you dislike something, so that hopefully it can help somebody who is reading comments, including myself. I hope that you guys are all doing really, really well. I thank you as always for stopping by and spending some time and supporting my channel. I hope that if you haven't already, you will consider subscribing, and I hope that you're continuing to stay safe. I hope that you are taking care of yourself and those around you, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.
Get more mindful of your purchases and see if there's a New York siren nearby, because that I can always help you with, because there's almost always a New York siren nearby.